Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. It is the 1st of September, 10:52 a.m. on Eastern Standard Time, 2024. And we made it another day, everybody in the world. Another day done and gone with. And thank goodness nothing's happened tragically, at least to the masses, maybe to smaller areas. Um, I did see several things in the news that were disturbing. We'll get into all that and the paranormal, the supernatural, and the cryptid. Right after we do the disclaimer, it's copyright disclaimer for Nighthawk I Strange, this podcast channel. This channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use Act. The Copyright Act of 1976, Nighthawk High Strange podcast channel, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, declares fair use of any and all content to be used for the purposes of criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and general knowledge only, and let's not forget the entertainment value. Per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known as the Fair Use Act. Now, let me get that off of there and say good morning to everybody and go to the chat real quick and give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, my brother. It's good to be on here with you again.
It's good to have you, man. Candy, you were early the other day. Yeah, Candy's awesome.
Yeah, she was really early. I got a kick out of that.
There's Roxanne, and hopefully Roxanne will keep that E.D. Testerman in line.
Yeah, that damn knucklehead. You gotta watch him.
And then there's Corey Cole. Good to see you, brother Corey. Cynthia, good to see you. Haven't seen Cynthia in a while.
Yeah, it's always good.
Let's see. Mary, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while either. That's good. That's good. I'm glad to see everybody in there. That's awesome. And of course, more will join us here shortly, hopefully. If you're in the house just watching from the shadows, drop your name in the chat so we can say hello to you. And we're going to get into a lot of weird stuff today, everybody. Yesterday was kind of a weird day for me. I tried to come online with the computer, and it wouldn't connect all day long until probably later on in the evening around 9 o'clock. I don't know if it was my equipment, which it shouldn't have been, because we watched you guys, on Jessica's show and on Eric's show last night on the TV, which is hooked up to the Wi-Fi. So, I mean, I don't. It was just weird. The computer, the cameras, nothing would work, and I got a funny feeling it had to do with the subject matter we were talking about on Friday night. Because they kicked me off of my own program Friday night a couple times, and they messed with our audio too by turning our audio mics off. So I don't know if it's StreamYard that's got an insider, from a certain three-letter agency that is working in there to silence people when they talk about the truth, or make. Because some of my theories are pretty outrageous. I mean, let's face it, But with what we're dealing with nowadays, Eric, we've got to think way outside the box on a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, look at all the issues I had when I tried to do my show Sunday, and I've had nothing but issues ever since.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. It's just. I don't know. It was just really weird, a weird all-around day. Even yesterday, stepping outside and taking little Jacob for a walk or something, outside. Even the atmosphere felt different. It felt statically charged. It really did. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but I did.
It's been like that for a few days now.
Yeah, it was real heavy yesterday, though. Real heavy. But anyways, we're going to get into some subjects that, you know how we always end it with question everything and all that. And I'm a big believer in that we have that right to question everything. But we're going to get into all kinds of subject matter today. We're going to get into elongated skulls.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get into mermaids. We're going to get into immortals, basically where we ended up on Friday night with the immortals. You know, water demons, the whole 9 yards. Here is an elongated skull, and there's no suture on that, which is odd. Now, here's the thing with the elongated skulls, everybody. There is a theory going around that these could be Bigfoot skulls. Now, I never really gave it a thought until I started thinking, well, you know, Bigfoot does have that hump on the top of their head that goes to almost a dome-style shape, a conical shape. So maybe the conical skulls are Bigfoot skulls.
Could be.
And it would make sense too, because their heads are always usually smaller than their body proportioned, you know, and it would make sense, you know, it really would. In fact, I saw this woman do a reanimation with clay on it that does reconstructive surgery for missing people and stuff when bones are found. And she did a Bigfoot face on one of these skulls that was amazing. It looked exactly like what I had seen.
I remember that. Yes.
Now I just can't believe that maybe some of the bones that we're finding, like the elongated skulls and stuff, and the bones with that, um, are Bigfoot. You know, I mean, maybe they are. You know, maybe they are, or at least an offshoot of what we're looking for. Maybe. Excuse me, I'm having a hard time breathing for some reason. Maybe, just maybe, for some reason, we're not finding the bones of Bigfoot or Dog Man or whatever you want to call them out there, because we are finding them, but we're assuming that they're not.
Yep.
You know, maybe it's just a misidentification thing. But yeah, that woman that did that skull reconstruction with the clay was phenomenal. I mean, it came out just like a Bigfoot face.
Yeah. It was
And
pretty
I've
dead
seen,
on.
yeah, I've seen them up close too. Trust me, I know what their face looks like, and it's you know it's an amazing experience when you ever confront one in the wild.
It's not a bad idea there, Richard.
Yeah, exactly. They should, Richard. That's a very good idea.
No kidding. I didn't know that, Richard. Yeah,
Well,
exactly. And
yeah,
I've
yeah.
go
The
ahead, sir.
flathead native people were called flatheads because what they did is they practiced with their cradle boards for their babies from infancy. They would
Mm.
strap the heads to the cradle board to kind of immobilize them, but it also made the skull become flat from the eyebrow ridge up into the cranium
Mm.
um, area. So they were called flatheads, which it could have been something along this lines, but it would be more flat on the front of it, I would imagine.
Right. Right.
These ones are really round in the elongated section, so it almost looks like it's a natural growth, or a process that their skull goes through.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm having a hard time catching my breath. I don't know what the heck's going on.
Stuart,
Anyways,
I agree. I've said that many times.
yeah. And then after we get into this, we've got some other things I wanted to talk about, like the mermaids. And the Book of Enoch talks about the mermaids, okay, and other water demons and stuff.
Yeah.
So and you have uploaded the Silky on here, and the
Mm-hmm.
Silkies spitting description of mermaids.
Oh yeah, you know they have a steel bottom. They're spitting
Mhm.
image of what a mermaid is.
Yep, exactly. And you have to wonder how old they can get to be too, because in the Bible describing the human women that were concubines to the fallen angels that gave birth to Nephilim,
Mm.
it was said that by the book of Enoch that God had punished them and made them the evil water uh, cryptids that you hear about all the time nowadays, which are the mermaids. Um, but have we ever really thought about there being mermen? I mean, it's always been mermaids as
Oh
far
yeah,
as
they're
I'm been known, which would make sense. Which would make sense with the Book of Enoch because it didn't say that he made the Nephilim into mermen. Um, it just said that he had created a flood and had killed them off.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is there's plenty of encounters that talks about both mermaids and mermen, and I mean depending on what theory you go by depends on what you're going to believe on how they created. Um, but there was both of them in there. And thing was, it's like everything else. You know, it's just like giants, it's just like Bigfoot, it's just like Dogman, it's just like any of that other stuff. There was different kinds. You don't believe me? Listen to the stories about the sirens. They were a totally different type of mermaid. Them things are straight vicious. I mean,
Right.
they drew you over the side of the boat to eat you. So I mean, there's different kinds of
Yeah.
those
Well,
as well.
that reminds me of the legends of the mermaids up in Alaska, along the coast there. The native community talked about them for thousands of years. Stories of men going down to the edge of the ocean and doing
Mhm.
fishing from a canoe and doing the whale hunting and the fishing and all that and the crabbing um, from the small boats, and then the boats coming in washing on shore without anybody in them or any of the food that they were fishing for.
Mhm.
So I mean, it is what it is. There was a recent incident when some guys were gathering clamshells, doing the clamshell dig on a beach, and
Mhm.
this is kind of coincides with what we talked about a couple podcasts ago about the living fog that I always bring up.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer that not only do we have the Creator, we have God, okay, the Heavenly Father, okay, but I'm also a firm believer that this earth that we live on is a living, breathing thing, okay? It's a living, breathing entity, okay? And everything connected to it and lives upon it is only at the gifting of Gaia, Mother Earth, okay? Um, and I'm a firm believer that with that comes supernatural status. So
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff that we are experiencing, that we see 1 minute in our vision, which our vision is what, 20 terahertz to 770 terahertz, um, that we can see things, which is a
Mhm.
very, very minute part of the visual spectrum. Okay. Um, so we take that into consideration that we can't see and hear things that are actually around us every minute of the day unless you're gifted. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do, like, if you have a near death experience, you get these abilities, these special abilities to sense things and to see things more
Mhm.
clearer on a wider spectrum. Um, and that's what happened with me, and I believe you, Eric, because I had three previously near death experiences, and one of them where I was actually dead, and came back. I was brought back through the open heart massage technique that they used in the operating room. Now, with the fog, some people claim that it's electronic fog. I think it's a living fog. That's why I call it a living fog, because I believe it's the breath of Gaia. Okay, I believe that fog is literally the breath of Mother Earth. And that sounds strange, I know, like she's got a mouth, and all that. But what do you call a volcano,
Yeah.
But my whole theory with that is just how everything's connected and everything interwoven together, okay? Like the fingers on a hand,
Yeah.
okay? And I believe that that's the same theory that we have when we come to all the parallel universes and all the timelines, is they're in that theory, okay? All right, where they're that nestled together like a woven basket, okay? But yet, with CERN doing stuff to it, it's got it all twisted and contorted up, and you have the quantum entanglements,
Yeah.
okay? So we have to remember that there are people on this planet that assume they know more than their creator, and assume that by doing these outrageous testing and experiments that could ultimately harm mankind in this realm, continue to do it today without our permission. And I think that they should have the citizens of the world's permission to do that, because they're jeopardizing not only their lives, but the lives of billions and billions of people. So,
Right.
but anyways, that's a whole nother cat out of the bag thing there. But getting back to the whole elongated skull and the mermaid thing, that there has been noted cases of mermaid skulls having that elongated skull,
Yeah.
but having a porthole in the skull at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's been said that is on mermaids, that was a sinus passage to where they could use their breath, internal breath of their body, to kind of like a sonar, to see how far away things are, like when they're hunting and all that in the water.
Mm-hmm.
There has been cases of mermaids being spotted swimming with dolphin packs,
Yeah.
with groups of dolphin, and communicating with them. The whole subject of mermaids is a very, very fascinating thing, and I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever be talking about mermaids, because growing up as a tough kid, and all that, you don't really talk about the girly things, and mermaids were always made pretty and comical because of Disney, and they're not that way at all. They are vicious,
Mm-hmm.
maniacal, um, theoretically processing thoughts of revenge, hunting. They are literally the, and I hate to say it this way, but they are like the demigods of the sea. Okay, and I'm saying that because it's true, because they have an ability that we obviously don't have. So even our best pearl drivers couldn't hold a candle to what they can do.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into another part of our conversation today, and I'm going to leave it up to Eric to start the process if he wants. But we're going to get into the whole immortal thing again, because
Mm-hmm.
I think we were on to something.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
And then I got a couple other things that I found. This one really blows my mind. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
that's not him, I'm just blown away by this Eddie Murphy picture. There is no way that it could not be Eddie Murphy. That is just creepy. That is
Mm-hmm.
literally just creepy. And then I was going through, and I saw a podcast on yesterday evening,
Mm-hmm.
that did Keanu Reeves. And hello, Moon at Noon and Brown Dwarf. Good to see you guys. Yeah, doppelgangers. We're going to get into all that, Brown Dwarf, eventually. I'm just going through some of the pictures to show everybody. This one with Keanu Reeves, goes from all the way till today's date, all the way back to 1530. And I just found that fascinating. You're talking well over 450 years. We're talking probably almost 500 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's amazing to me. If anybody's immortal, that anybody that can live to almost 500 years old, that is immortal in my book. I mean, that's a long lifespan. So,
Yeah.
but that's just some of the topics we were going to get into today. I'm going to make a cup of coffee here, so I'm not going to be rude. I'm going to turn my camera off and make a cup of coffee, and I'll be listening and talking right along with you, Eric. If you could pick a spot, pick a card, any card, step
I
on
want to
up.
hit something real quick. Richard, I actually had a whistleblower come out to me a few weeks ago that I talked about on William's show. I can't remember. I think it was a Sunday morning. Of all the things that CERN's doing, and this guy works at CERN. He either still works or used to work at CERN, and he came out and talked about a lot of stuff. I got this report, and if you get a chance, kind of find that show. I don't remember what show it was on. We talked about it, but it was a couple weeks ago. Of all the things that CERN is doing. Me and William talk about CERN a lot with a lot of stuff going on, but I actually had a whistleblower report given to me.
They are definitely, CERN has screwed up our world so much, everybody. I mean, they really have. And if you think about it, and Brown Dwarf, I know we've talked about this, you and I, before, with CERN, and their testing and how they just, they seem like they don't care about the rest of the population on this planet. And when in actuality, I'm a firm believer that, and I'm sure that Uncut Savage and Brown Dwarf and Kyle and everybody in the chat will agree, and Girl with a Gong, good to see you. I'm sure you all will agree, Catherine, good to see you, that we're allowing these so-called scientists, okay, and I use that scientific word very, very cautiously, with the air quotes, because what are they scientists of? Everything that they have to deal with on a daily basis that calls them professional scientists is all either propaganda or just hearsay or just speculation. That's all it is. Okay, because science is, and they will BS us till we're dead with this by saying science is the only way to acknowledge something is existence and all that. Well, science has been wrong time and time again about the past. Okay, they hold the bones that have been found around the world of giants, so they deny the existence of giants, which is in the Bible and several other
all your ancient history,
old texts. Yeah, your emerald tablets talk about them. Your
clay tablets.
The clay tablets.
Native Americans.
Even the Mayan. So all these stories and legends, from indigenous people around the world of giants, and they to this day they hide the bones in the Smithsonian, and that's the only reason that these agencies that work for our government were even devised, is to keep the secrets away from people. Okay, you have NASA. NASA is not even a space agency; it's an ocean agency for oceanic research. And you got Smithsonian. They're the ones that go around, sponsoring all these archaeological digs and stuff. And when they find something that contradicts what science has said happened, they hide it. They stick it in their archives and hide it. I mean, there's too many things that are connected to governments around the world that think that they have this overpowering need to suppress the truth to the masses. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Nobody wants to live in a lie. Okay, And, that's why we literally take everything everyone in our chat and stuff, our extended family, we take everything that extra mile to investigate it. Because, it's like I always said, you got to question everything. You got to think way outside the box on some of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of the stuff that they tell you is how it is not how it is. We're building civilization on top of civilizations, when the civilizations we're building on top of
Mm-hmm.
were destroyed with energy weapons that were as powerful, if not more powerful, than our atomic bombs.
It's
Okay,
just like
we're
that saying I
finding
say all the time. We build our civilization on top the dust and bones of the previous one. I mean,
exactly,
we don't say that just to say that. We say that because you can do archaeological digs, and it proves that is fact. That's not
yeah,
me saying that. That is archaeological dug proven fact.
exactly. So I'm going to leave it up to you, Eric. You can pick on which topic you want to go with, right away. I'm really looking forward to the immortal thing,
Yeah, we can do.
but and the
I
mermaids and all that.
As you were sitting here talking, I just came up with a theory on the immortal thing that I don't think we touched on. I don't recall us ever touching on it. We know our ancestors was known to live for thousands of years. Maybe this is some people that still know how to do that. So they're not necessarily immortal as we would think, because that's our modern way of thinking. Could they have actually known how to do this from our ancestral past, and that's what they're doing now, which is giving them an extended lifetime?
Yeah.
That's another
Well,
theory I didn't
if
think
you
about.
yeah, if you think about it, though, it kind of goes along with what we were talking about Friday night with the Hollywood elitists, out there. A lot of the Hollywood people bathing in baby's blood,
Yep.
drinking baby's blood,
Mm-hmm.
using the umbilical foreskin of North Korean babies to have it injected under their skin. There's just so many different things that they do to stay young. And is it that? I'm not saying that's 100% factual, um but who in their right mind would drink baby's blood and bathe in baby's blood, or the blood of young maidens, okay, um if they weren't A, immortal, or B, a vampire?
Mm-hmm. So let's break this immortality down a few times, and we've done this quite often. So the immortals that we do know about, a lot of it's supernatural entities. Um, you've got the different types of vampires. You've got the alien side of it. I mean, a whole bunch of different ones are on the supernatural aspect of it. So that being the case of being immortality is got a very strong suit to it. But we also got to consider there could be other factors to it as well. I mean, it's already proven through ancient texts that we used to live for over 1,000 years, close to 1,000 years, and even over it. I mean, one of the kings of ancient Samaria was ruled for what 14,320 some years, I think, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. That's in a
Yeah,
long
that's
time.
even yeah, that's even if they're using our scale for time.
Exactly.
The time back then could have been different completely.
Yeah. So if we used to live that long, because okay, so let's go on the Anunnaki theory out of how humanity was created, because a lot of this goes back to the Anunnaki. So Anunnaki took the forms that was on this planet, mixed it with their DNA, and created us. There's a reason why Native Americans call Dog Man and Bigfoot and stuff like that Shia Tonka, the elder big brother. They were the first beings. Many Native American cultures will tell you the exact same thing. These things were here before humanity. Jinn was here before humanity. There were so many things that was here before humans were. So if we know the Anunnaki have an extreme lifespan and we're created from their DNA, that would be why we used to have a long lifespan until they manipulated it and caused it where we don't no more. Um, so that could be the process of these immortality people. They've learned how to tap in and get back to that long lifespan. Now, the other side of it, could they be using dark magic? My experience with dark magic is you use that, you don't live very long. So that kind of side of it, I don't know. I can't 100% say, yes, this is true. Now, there's many stories throughout history talking how about musicians knew how to extend their lifespan. I don't know if that's dark magic related or they just knew how to do it from the ancient teachings. So that aspect of it, it's got to be on the table as a plausibility as well. Then look at another aspect of it. These natural things were here before we were, and they lived longer than we did, and that's why we're seeing stuff now. Could these, and then the other aspect, the fallen angels that fell from heaven never lost their heavenly powers and never lost their heavenly ranks. They have an extremely long lifespan. So are we looking at possible fallen angels with these immortals? All this is definitely within the realm of possibility of being what's actually happening and causing these things, far as, immortals go. All of it's on that table. I mean, look at Lilith. Lilith was the first vampire. She was a succubus. She's still going around and hunting people to this day. There's your dark side. There's your supernatural side right there.
Right.
She's got offspring that are vampiric as well. All that falls into there. So I mean, we may never know the actual truth, but there's too many pieces to the puzzle that fit together so well. Devil's advocate. Each one of them could be a different type of one of these theories, and so each one of these theories is true. They're just a different entity, which causes their immortality. That is in that realm as well. I mean, look, you got Yahweh. Yahweh is the great creator, the great mystery, great grandfather, the architect of all things. He created everything. Below him, you had Zeus, Odin, and so forth. There was more than one God. Even if you study the Torah, even in the Torah, it tells you, I made man in our image, in the image of the gods. Plural, right. Gods, plural. So, these sub-gods, these demigods, however you want to call it, I call them sub-gods because they're children of Yahweh. They were meant to rule this world. So is that why, one aspect of it is why all religions have the same core value? That is one way of looking at it. Another one is, and I've talked about this many a times, till the fall of Tower of Babel, we spoke the same, looked the same, acted the same, believed the same, everything like that. And upon the fall of the Tower of Babel, God split the tongue, split the people. We look different, we talk different. Could that be why all that stuff's the same? All that is definitely within that realm of possibility because it's written records of this stuff. So we have to take that same concept and we have to put this in the immortals as well, because these very well could be ones that's created. They're also very well could be the ones that was here before us. And then if the Anunnaki had played with them just like they did with us, could be another reason why. Maybe they got some Anunnaki DNA in them and that's why their life is extended. So there's just too much stuff coming out that's suggesting that this stuff is true. There's a U.S. custom form out of Florida that's got on that form. It actually states 5 vampires being brought in to the U.S. And the key word was vampires.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were human, why didn't they put human instead of human? They actually put vampires.
Right.
So, I mean, that tells you, it's like we've talked about several times. Behind every myth, behind every legend and all that stuff, there's always an ember or a kernel of truth to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And, a lot of the indigenous cultures around the world talk about beings like the vampire, beings that will possess you through your mind and make you do things and see things that you normally wouldn't see or do. And it's all around the world. I mean, even the Aboriginals in Australia talk about it. Natives here in the U.S., we talk about it. Canada, they talk about it. South America, they have legends of them being almost like a being that basically will suck the life force out of certain individuals. Especially if the individual is gifted with special gifts.
Yeah.
For some reason, they like that a lot more. That's why they take children so young. They're not corrupted by the world and desensitized by the indoctrination of the education system, which is all it is. It's a brainwashing system, is all it is, as far as I'm concerned. Um, because the ones that are in control think that they have that overpowering feeling of making themselves feel more superior than we are, and that can't be farther from the truth, because it states in the missing books of the Bible, um, in the book of
It's right
let's
here.
see, Jubilee, the book of Giants, the book of Jasher, and several others. It talks about how we can be godly like too. It doesn't say that we could be God. It says we could
Mhm.
be godly like. Okay,
Mhm.
that we have that innate ability that when we connect our mind, our brain with our heart, that we can make this almost a magical connection to the world.
Mhm.
Um, not to get off subject a little bit, but that's why I tell people to walk around without their shoes on throughout the day. You know,
Yes.
yeah, you can go hug a tree all you want, but you'd be faster if you just took your shoes off and walked around on Mother Earth and felt
And
that
more
connection.
powerful.
Yeah.
Be
So
better. Yeah.
and that's why I think a lot of the stuff that they call technological advancements, with our species, kind of it undercuts our abilities to learn and process certain abilities that we should have. Okay, wearing of shoes is a big one. If you notice, shoes are made out of on the bottom with rubber. Rubber
Mhm.
does not conduct electricity. Okay, what we're getting from the ground when we walk around on Mother Earth is an electrical charge that stimulates between the two bodies, our body and Mother Earth. Okay,
Mhm.
think about it. Okay, that's how we ground ourselves and we get more in tune with things with this world. And wearing
Yeah.
shoes takes that ability away from us. So, and I mean, I don't walk around barefoot all day. Don't get me wrong, but whenever I get a chance to, I will go outside and walk around in my bare feet. You know,
If you
um,
got to have shoes on, try to get something like leather, pure leather, nothing in between the leather, just straight up leather. That's a
which
natural thing, and it's going to absorb that energy. Now, is it
which is
still going to be a barrier? Yes, it's still going to be a barrier, but you're still going to get more of that vibration and more of that power, versus a rubber soled shoe or a plastic soled shoe or something like that.
exactly. And if you think about it, the native people specifically wore moccasins for that purpose. They didn't want to lose that connection to Mother Earth. That because even they knew, even the indigenous people knew, my ancestors knew that if you blocked that off permanently, you would lose the abilities that you were gifted. Okay,
Mhm.
when you hunt game, you need to have that connection to Mother Earth. Otherwise, you're going to have a fruitless hunting season. See what
Mhm.
I'm saying? You have to
Mhm.
have that connection because Mother Earth's going to sense where your heart's at. And if your heart's in a good way, you're going to get lots of game.
Yeah,
Plain and simple. Okay.
yeah,
That's why indigenous cultures around the world wore moccasins, wore skins on their feet, and not rubber or something synthetic,
mhm.
um, for the longest time. And if you notice, with the institution of sneakers and stuff, look how far the Native American youth have gotten from their culture.
Mhm.
They don't want to learn about their culture,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, and so
because we
go
because
ahead.
the
Sorry,
the,
bro.
the powers that be, yeah, the powers that be basically don't want them to have that connection.
Mhm.
So
You, I challenge you guys to do this. And this is where you're going to have to be really in touch with yourself. You can literally feel the difference when you touch Mother Earth with the barefoot versus a shoe. It's instantaneous. You can feel it. It all hits you. So I challenge you, try that. Step out on the ground with the shoe. Feel what your energy is like. Then come off of it, take your shoes off and walk on it and feel the instant buzz. It's like a good way to put it. It's like a buzz that shoots through your energy. And you'll see what we're saying and how true it is. I did want to hit something up real quick. I was waiting until you was done. So, Dawn, that is actually one of the theories and a good possibility of what's causing it. So I can't dispute that what you're saying on there at all, because it is pretty well documented that they're doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to comment on that too, because I saw that. That's why I left it up there for a while. But yeah, that's a very, and we can't limit ourselves just with thinking that they're vampires and immortal because they're swimming in blood and all that and drinking blood. There has to be that possibility of cloning. Okay.
Yeah.
Several famous people in Hollywood came out and said that yes, they're cloned. Look at that one young black comedian that's now an actor. He supposedly died in a car accident in Hollywood on Mulholland Boulevard, I believe it was. And, within days, he was out of the hospital with just bruises. Now, how can that be? I mean, if you saw the pictures of his car from the accident, the compartment, the compartment that the people were sitting in was completely crushed. It would have killed anybody that was normal. But Kevin Hart survived it. And he came out several months later and said, yeah, I've got clones. He said that he was a clone. So, I mean, and they got to say this stuff to us in front of the public, because if they don't admit to it, then the spells that they're casting and the incantations that they're saying are not going to be allowed to work. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like kind of like the theory of, with when Jesus came and he told the devil, he told Lucifer that you're not only the prince of this world, but you're the God of this world. Okay. Well, on all of our money, what does it say? In God we trust.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it should say in Lucifer they trust, because that's exactly what that means. Okay. It means exactly the way it's worded. The God of this world is Lucifer. Okay. Jesus spoke it to him, and the authority was given to him. Okay. So naturally, when you see all these Hollywood elites go up and thanking God and their family for winning an award, like an Emmy or an Oscar, they're thanking Lucifer. They're not thanking God the Father in heaven.
And they've openly said Lucifer several times too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you got to understand that there is that deep, dark, demented, satanic connection to everything in this world. Literally everything, even CERN. I mean, look at CERN. We started out talking about CERN today. Look at CERN. They're so demonic, it's pitiful.
Oh God, yeah.
So I got to take some coffee here. Hold on.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you're right. You're absolutely right, and this is stuff we have to consider and learn. That's why you can't just study just the Bible. You have to study the other religions out there as well. I mean, I've done that, and I can tell you, your eyes are going to open a lot if you do that. So, good morning, Urdrum. If I can get my little mouse to work here where I can get things highlighted.
It's nice to see Jessica in the chat.
It is. I had a blast on her show last night, man. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sorry, Jessica. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you, dear. It wasn't that at all. I'm just having a hard time breathing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love doing that, Roxanne. That's one of my favorite things to do as well. I guess I'm a hopeless romantic. Because one of my favorite dates is just lay out and then look at the stars at night. But I'm just an old dude that likes to do old ways, I guess you can say. But it's not just the connection between you and that person you're laying out and looking at the clouds or the stars with. It's the connection with Mother Earth while you're doing it.
You're just a fluffy jellyfish.
I'm a fluffy teddy bear. The creator sits above all. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about earlier, Miss Moon, or Moon at Noon. Sorry, my gosh, if I can speak. Yahweh. Yahweh is the great creator, the great architect, the great mystery, the great grandfather. He is the creator of all life and even all gods. He is the one and only great creator. And that's something we need to get back to remembering. Um, yeah, the Bible's some the truth about organ groups influence too. Oh yeah, money isn't evil; it's the way you use the money. Yeah, absolutely. Why is my thing not working? But it's also so there. That's actually a double-edged sword, Yurdam. In some aspects, you're absolutely correct on that statement. In other aspects, depending on who created the money, there's actually power attached to it. So the Babylonian fiat system money that we're on now has a dark demonic presence to it, which then in return creates the evilness of it. So you have to be mindful on that. That's a double-edged sword that you have to be careful on. But in some aspects, you're absolutely correct. In other aspects, it's actually they do. Yeah, star watching, Richard, is great.
Oh, I got a kick out of the one person's this one right here. You're dumb too. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
We did, Jessica. It was a good time. Thank you, Ida. I appreciate that. Oops, it's just chat's flowing on. I love it. I'm trying to get caught up, folks. Forgive me. I apologize. I am trying to get caught up. I don't want to leave nobody out.
Yeah, we try not to. Trust me. But the way the chat goes so fast that it's impossible to keep up with it sometimes.
I love it. Evil controls money, which isn't even real money. Exactly. And that's why I was talking about the Babylonian fiat system. That type of money is extremely evil because there's dark energy attached to it. Yep. I did not think of that moon at noon. Man, moon at noon. That is, I like that. Tim, how's it going? Good to see you again today, buddy. And Galzo was the messenger from the creator and all that told Anunnaki to have. Yeah. Yeah, they do. And I apologize. I am trying to get caught up with you guys. Catherine, William, Eric, or someone in chat, can you tell me if the vampires start by a demon or that the demon inhabits a newly deceased person? So that is kind of a very interesting. I've done a YouTube show on vampires. So if you study the ancient history on vampires, yes, magic is used to create some of these vampires. A lot of these vampires, dark magic is used to create them. If you actually study zombies and vampires, you're going to see the connection between the both being one and the same. And we know that there's different types of vampires. So the fact that zombies could be a type of vampire as well within there. So they're always living at first, and then when they die is when they become either a vampire or they become a zombie. So magic actually creates them. They were living human entities at first. The only one that I have found that was not, well, no, I guess even technically she was, because she was created from the earth the same as Adam. She was known as First Eve, also known as Lilith, which is the oldest vampire that you can find in history. She's a succubus. Her daughters are succubuses. So I mean, she was cursed.
Be called succubuses.
Yeah, she was cursed, and that's how she became a succubus. So I guess even in the very first one, they were living entities first before they were cursed or magically used to become that way.
Yeah. Now I can tell you too from working in the dark arts, growing up around it too. that when we conjure up beings to help us, um, be it the walker ceremonies and stuff that we used to do, to just conjuring entities to help us with problems and whatnot, and making solutions occur where solutions wouldn't have occurred normally. We would call upon, we would call those things fletchlings. Okay. Now, what we call a fletchling is described as a vampire or a zombie. It's something that is not alive, but then again, it's not dead. Okay. It's something that craves human flesh and blood, but yet doesn't eat. Okay. It's practically an immortal entity. Okay. And when we conjured those things up from the spell castings that we would do, um, we would have specific people for them to go at, okay, or specific areas of the country to wander, okay. Like I told Jessica several months back that, you know, the reason people are seeing a lot of this stuff around cemeteries, um, and Native American burial grounds and sacred lands is because a lot of us were taught at a very young age when we're in the black arts that we need to protect those areas from mankind, from the white man. Okay. So we would conjure up things to protect those areas. Okay. And that's why you have a lot of people seeing, all right, let's put it to you this way. Everybody thinks that Wendigo is a creature. Okay. Wendigo is not a creature. Okay. It is not a creature. It's not a cryptid at all.
No.
Wendigo is um, a breathing supernatural entity that has the ability to possess the human body. Okay. When we conjure up these things, we are reaching into the supernatural basket and we're pulling the rabbits out of the hat. Okay. We're making these things become real. Okay. So you're going to see in your mind's eye something that frightens you. Okay. These are how all these spells are done. They're based off of your fear. What scares you the most? Well, I would think most people would be afraid of being eaten alive.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I'm uploading
So,
a
what do you?
video or a picture of a Wendigo that I created because people need to understand Wendigos don't have horns. I believe that's a misidentification. I really do. This is what I created, but this right here is going to be very close to
Exactly.
what a Wendigo actually looks like. That
Yep.
right there.
Exactly. Yep.
That is going to be a true Wendigo. So that keep that in
Yep.
mind when you're messing with the big W. That's actually what you got coming after you. Is that right there? I'll get caught back
Exactly.
up on the chat. Sorry, folks.
Exactly. And you know, when we do these spells and stuff, and we conjure up these entities, we base it off of your internal fears. Okay. We when we it's like when I do well, when I did the dark arts spells and stuff, I would basically picture myself, my hands going around the entire United States and pulling all the fears in towards my chest. Okay. And I would go through each and every fear during ceremony and conjure up entities for each and every specific fear and each and every specific place in the country I wanted to have them basically haunt. Okay. Or to cause havoc, to keep the white men out. Okay. This is stuff that we have not talked about for thousands of years. Okay. So, you know, this is stuff that we base, um how do I want to say it? Whenever you see something, okay, you base it off your visual. Well, we base it off of what's in here, because what's in here is stronger than the vision that you could have. Okay, so we're going to take that fear that you have, and we're going to encapsulate it in a 9 foot tall cryptid creature with the buck antlers coming out of its head and a skull for a face with lips missing off of it because it's so hungry for flesh that it ate its own lips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are things that we do, okay, and we have done for thousands of years, okay,
Yeah.
to protect our sacred lands, to protect our burial grounds, our burial mounds, and anything else we wanted to protect. Okay, so what you're seeing some of the times out there, and it's like I always said when Dennis was on the show too. If it has red eyes, it's supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not because it lives in a cave. Okay, and automatically the headlights go on when it goes outside at night. No, that's not it at all. It's not a freaking Porsche. Okay, what it is a supernatural entity. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and when you see the red glow of the eyes, you're seeing the evil. You're seeing the evil incarnated in the eyes, because when we incorporate these spells, the eyes are the window to the soul. Okay, we've always known that. So we have taken that and gotten to the point where we can literally do these spells with an accuracy of just hair's difference from what your fear is, okay, and what you're being chased by. I had a very dear brother of mine, and I hope he's in the chat. I haven't seen his name yet, but well, you know him, Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
and he had approached me about helping out a friend of his, because they were having this being um, harass them. Okay, and how do I want to say this? Um, Pull that picture up again that you had there, Eric, please, if you would.
Yeah.
I want to
This
I want to
this is
point
this
this
is
out.
literally
Yeah.
this is literally my creation. I made this picture. Um, this is for a book cover that I'm working on called Saga Grimson Book 3 Revenge of the Windigo. This is 100% my creation, but it's the closest I can get to what they actually are.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, that picture that Eric created, um, he created that not knowing that somebody's fear in the audience is based off of that. Okay. See, a lot of people
Mhm.
that are gifted with this gift, or curse, no matter how you look at it,
Yeah.
they don't realize where that gift comes from. And Eric's Native American bloodline and Nor's bloodline makes him gifted. Okay, um, so you take this creature here that he has, the supernatural entity, okay, which is the W, okay, the flesh eater, um, and you give this thing a name. Okay, let's call it him. Okay, Him. All right. So him has a name now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's going to happen? Well, this supernatural entity that was raised up or conjured up by a Native American blood source, is going to wreak havoc on non-native people. Okay, it's going to encapsulate their dreams. It's going to walk amongst their nightmares. Okay, it's going to walk along their property in a mist and a fog. Okay, a living fog. Okay, this is how I know everything is connected. Okay, and everything is connected. Whenever you see that fog, you'll know that it's not a normal fog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a feeling you're going to get, a crispness in the air. There's things that live in that fog, like supernatural things. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and when we make these things come forth, you all are the ones that see it and interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you know, be it good or bad, that's just the way of it was. Okay, now this individual had this type of an entity that was harassing her. And it took me the better part of 4 days to get rid of it. Okay. I'm not going to say how I got rid of it, but I got rid of it. All right. I still, to this day, and this is the second time I've come up against this supernatural entity. Okay. And it's called a him, HIM. Okay. So if anybody else sees this, they're going to think, oh, well, it's a ghoul, it's a goblin, it's a this, it's a that, it's a a rake. No, it's not a rake, it's not a goblin, it's not a ghoul, it's a supernatural entity. Okay, look at the eyes that he actually depicted in this. Okay, the windows to the soul, people, the windows to the soul. Whenever you're staring at a camera, you're staring at a red light. Windows to the soul. The camera is an eye. Okay. Just like the human eye. Okay. Windows to the soul. Okay. So you have to understand that these things are occurring at such an exponential rate that it's almost in overdrive. It's in automatic overdrive. Okay. So unless we renounce the entities that we brought forth and make them go back, they're going to be there indefinitely. Okay. Now, that's not to say that every cryptid creature out there is a supernatural entity. No. Only ones I'm saying are the ones with the red glowing eyes. Okay. You can believe me or you can choose not to. I'll make you this bet, though, that you go spend the night in a cemetery alone with nothing but a flashlight, and I'll send something your way and you won't like it. And you'll never go to a cemetery again. I guarantee it. Plain and simple. I guarantee it. Okay. Because when we are taught at a young age to be dark medicine people, we're taught from day one that we are the key. Okay. Whenever we talk about flesh ceremonies and all that, and sacrifices that are made to bring forth some of these entities, and we talk about sacrificing our loved ones and all that, you don't understand that 90% of the time that loved one is our own spirit. It's our own body, and we give our own flesh offerings. Okay. So you have to remember that. There is so much that is incorporated in these I'm going to say what it is. It's a curse in these curses that you all are seeing on a daily basis. Okay. It's just, it is what it is. Okay. That's the way it was. Nowadays there's very, very few dark people, medicine people, that practice this old art. Okay. And it is an ancient art. Okay. It's like the Druids, smacking a stick on a tree. You know why the whole Bigfoot thing started with smacking a stick on a tree? It's because the Druids would call forth the elemental spirit of the tree, the oak specifically, to come forth and help them with the matter that they had to take care of. Same incantation as native people do, just different way of doing it. Okay. So now you got all these people running around doing Bigfoot hunts, smacking baseball bats into trees all around the country, all around the world. Okay. What do you think's going to happen? Every time you smack a tree with a baseball bat, you're calling forth an elemental. You're not communicating with a great ape. You're communicating with the supernatural. Okay. And I really, I'm a firm believer that when everybody, they basically follow suit. You see it on TV on a show, just because somebody's smacking a tree with a stick, they assume that's the way you have to attract Bigfoot. No, what you're doing is you're ringing the dinner bell. That's what you're doing. So, I just, there's certain ways to do things, folks. There really is. Okay. And calling forth elementals is not the way to do it, because elementals are older than anything.
Yep.
Elementals, there have been elementals here before there was a here. Okay. Um, you could probably even consider them as being like the fallen angels on that level, because they can deceive you. And oh, thank you, Cynthia. Thank you very
You're
much,
awesome.
dear. Um, they can deceive you just as easy as any demon can. So, and that's where a lot of this demonic stuff starts at. Yeah. Oh, yeah, brown dwarf. I know, and probably the biggest hang up with me. I really, and it's going to take a lot of us to basically get the word out there that, listen, you shouldn't be hitting trees, because what
Yeah.
you're doing an elemental incantation.
Yep.
Okay, you're calling forth the spirit of that living, breathing being in front of you. And when those elementals come out, they're not going to come out in the greatest of moods, because you're waking them from a nap. Okay, like poking a sleeping bear. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't poke a sleeping grizzly
No.
unless you want to become its dinner. So, we need to really start doing this in a more logical manner, instead of incorporating follow the leader. And that's exactly what's going on in the whole
Yep.
cryptid community is follow the leader. Let's see how far we can take this. You know what I mean? And now everybody's going out there smacking trees and all this weird shit's happening. Oh, yeah. Well, you got a lot of that weird shit happening because you're out there smacking trees.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
I want to bring up a very good point on something with this when it comes to smacking on trees and Bigfoots. So let's take this at a scientific level. You have something that weighs 700 plus pounds using a stick to smack a tree. If that is the case, where is the damaged trees that they're smacking? I mean, you got to put logic into things when you're thinking about that. Something that big smacks a tree with a limb or something hard is going to damage that tree. Even at a quarter or an eighth of its strength will damage that tree. So you got to consider that as well. Dryads live in trees. They're a fae. They're a fairy folk. They're also known as a nymph. Mm-hmm. You smack that tree, you got a dryad in, you're going to piss that dryad off, and it's going to come at you and wreak havoc on you. When Bigfoot's doing that pop, I think DA hit the nail on the head with this one. It's a click of the tongue. I think that's what they're doing. It's a way of communicating. It's a way to see in the dark. I mean, I could be wrong, but I really think DA was pretty spot on with that theory. I've always argued the case of them smacking trees because simple physics with dealing with science. There's no damaged trees out there.
Exactly. And and DA knows for a fact that when he's talked to me about the subject and all that with smacking trees, I've always been a firm believer that you don't hit a tree with a stick.
No.
Okay. That is an incantation, folks. I'm sorry, but you just had witchcraft 101. Think about it. You did. You learned how the old druids would call forth an elemental.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's an old druid trick.
Look at it this way too. Me and Jessica's talked about this a few times. Because I've never had orbs when I've been having my Bigfoot activity out here. My orbs have always been, except for one time, my orbs have always been associated with paranormal. Some of these orbs, what we're mistaken as orbs, is actually a fae. It's a fairy. They look like little orbs, like little fireflies. So these things are all part of nature. Shiitaka, Dogman, all that stuff is a part of nature. They were here on this planet before we were. They know the magic of each other. Imagine if you smack a tree and it hits you back. Yeah. So they're going to know this stuff. Exactly. They're going to know this stuff. So they're not going to be going there and banging a tree, taking a risk of pissing off a dryad. They're just not going to do it. I mean, they know this stuff better than we know this stuff. You got to understand this. I mean, these are creatures of nature. They live in nature. They're a part of nature. You have to consider that when you're thinking about this, and a lot of people don't, and it's sad because they want to go with the newest fad. Understand nature, understand the beings, and then you'll understand. You just think logically, and you got to throw science in there. There's good science and there's bad science. You got to throw the good science in with it.
Exactly.
I get you on that one, Dan. I'm trying to get caught.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, brother. I didn't know you were sitting in the comments. So go ahead. I was trying to get caught up.
I like Robin's comment here. That don't know of any living being that likes to be struck.
Yeah.
So, and that's true. Think about it. It. That's exactly what we're talking about. But literally, you're doing an incantation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times in ceremony, when we do incantations and stuff and all that, it's a manifestation. You don't even have to say something verbally. All you got to do is visualize it and feel it, and you can make it happen. When we do the ceremonies to bring rain into crops, we don't say words to the Creator, to the fire and all that to make an incantation. We manifest it. We actually stand there. We in our bare feet, we feel our toes gripping into the mud, and we feel the mud and watery down earth between our toes. Okay, we feel the raindrops on our face and on our lips. We can taste it, the sweetness of the rain. These are things that cause us to manifest rain for crops. It's not a word. It's not a verbal word that does it. Okay, there are ceremonies that you can use verbal institutions to basically conjure up rain, but it's more of a manifestation. Any medicine man like myself would be completely quiet, and we would take and just, like I said, we would curl our toes up in the soil and just imagine mud going through our toes, and curling around our feet. We would feel the rain against our skin and our face, the wind pushing it into our eyes, into our lips, and we would taste it, and we would visually see rain falling from the sky. Okay, now we never used to be able to basically manifest only a certain amount of rain. A lot of times we would manifest that it would rain so much that we wouldn't need it for a whole year again. But it is it's a nonverbal incantation. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, and a lot of the times when you're out there in the woods doing your Bigfoot hunts or your dogman hunts and all that, and you're smacking trees, or you're picking up things and taking them from the environment without laying something back down to say thank you, you're causing these entities that we sent out all those years ago to come forth and to get that item from you. Okay. Anybody that's a Bigfoot hunter out there knows that whenever you're gifted something from a Bigfoot, the majority of it is going to be something that they deemed appropriate or something that's important to them. Okay. Feathers. I can't tell you the dozens of times that I have been given red-tailed hawk feathers, bald eagle feathers, owl feathers, you name it. I've been given these top sky predator feathers as a gift, okay, from Bigfoot, okay. And why? Because if I'm out on the farm, I grab a piece of corn or two off the stalks, and I'll take it out and put it on a stump, and I'll say, here you go, my ancestors, my brothers and my sisters. I'm sharing my crop with you, my harvest with you. I want you to partake of it. I'll come back the next day, and those ears of corn will be gone, and there'll be a feather laying there. You see,
So
everything is connected. Everything is connected.
Interesting story about that feather there. I used to have a different turkey feather in my hat. My little brother had shot a turkey and gave me one of the, hey, Tracy, it's good to see you, sis. They gave me a feather, from the turkey he shot. So I wore it in my hat all the time. I was out mowing one day and lost that feather. And I was a little upset because, that feather meant something to me. It was a gift from my little brother. So I made a couple passes, came back around, never saw a turkey. But right there where I just mowed was that feather right there. And the first thing that came to my head was, this is a gift, take it and wear it. And that's what I did. This rock here that I think has got something to do with giants. I've always talked about this several times. Never take anything from the woods unless you know it's a gift. Otherwise, you can have bad adbacks. I was literally led to this rock right here and was told to take it. This was completely out of the path I was going to take, and something told me to go in this direction and stop. When I stopped and looked down, it said, "This is yours. Take it." And that's why that's why I did that. If you take something from the woods, you got a chance of something paranormal or supernatural being attached to it. And if it's supernatural, i.e. the fae, that's attached to that deal, and you bring it to your home, they're going to wreak havoc on your home, like hugely wreak havoc on your home. So you have to be very careful. Don't just take things. Don't come up with something, oh, that looks pretty, I want to take it, because that can bring some very negative activity to you. So you have to be very careful. Pay attention, be in tune with what's going around. They'll let you know if they want you to have it. I was gifted this feather. Exactly. I was gifted that rock. I was gifted. I've been gifted several things, some very odd things, but I've been gifted some things. But if you take it without their permission, you ain't gonna be happy.
Yep. I want to address something here too, Roxanne. That is true. That is very true. I'm going to tell you all a story that a pastor told me and Tracy when we were watching him the other day. And it's a true story. Okay. And you can base this off of whatever you want, as far as fact, but I'm sure you could, his thing is called Last Days. He's a prophetic word preacher. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, he actually got a little puppy, for his family. And the little girl was playing with the puppy. And then, he was getting ready to do something on a computer. I guess it was playing games with his son on a computer. And the puppy kept on getting underneath his feet at the table where he was sitting playing the games with his son. And he had told the daughter to put the puppy up, and so, it wouldn't be wandering around and making a mess everywhere. So she chose, just a little kid, just a teen, she was like 4 years old, but maybe 5. And basically she didn't put the puppy up, and it was underneath his feet, and he went to get up, and he got up out of the chair, and he put his foot down with his whole weight on a dog. Okay.
Oh no.
Now, automatically, the dog was dead. He described it in a horrific way. Guts coming out of the mouth, blood, everything. And the puppy was dead. So him and the wife took a shoebox, and they put the puppy in the shoebox and cleaned up the mess and all that. And he was really angry, and he said he started cussing. And he's a preacher. He doesn't really cuss, okay? And he got so angry, and he was cussing. And the young daughter goes, "Just ask Jesus to raise it from the dead." And the guy started boiling. He said, I got so angry. He said, so my wife took the box and she put it in the garbage can, in the bottom of the garbage can, and it was cold outside. So, the coldness would, they could take care of it in the morning, because this was at nighttime. And basically, he said the daughter was going up and down the hallway of the house saying, "Jesus, raise it from the dead, raise the puppy from the dead." And she even asked her father to say it. And the pastor wouldn't say it, because he thought, why would God listen to me after I just spewed all these evil words out? Why he won't listen to me because of that, you know? So the whole time she's marching up and down the hallway in this house, Jesus raised my puppy from the dead. Jesus raised my puppy from the dead. Over and over and over again. Okay. Until they heard the puppy.
Mm.
They heard the puppy
Dude, I just got
whining.
chills.
Okay. They heard the puppy whining. They went outside, took the lid off the trash can, and there the puppy was. No blood, no guts, not dead, very much alive, and never looked like it was stepped on.
Mm.
So I ask you, do we not have the ability to talk to the Creator and ask the Creator to do magnificent things for us? Think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to think about that. That little girl had all the faith in the world that her puppy would be raised from the dead. Okay. That little girl didn't do it, but she had the faith of a child that doesn't question anything. Okay. Just sheer faith that Jesus would raise the puppy from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the puppy was raised.
Yeah. Richard, thank you. You're awesome, man. We appreciate that. We got a super
you,
sticker
Richard.
from Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, that was Tracy.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
sis. My sis is in the house.
Night with Jessica.
She said, awesome show last night with Jessica, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had you guys on the big TV. So you were
Dude,
on
I
a
was
big
crazy.
Fluffy was on the big TV.
You need a big TV to cover my big ass. Something I want to make a comment on. If you don't believe in the power of frequency, I can tell you guys firsthand. So when I was in high school, for one of my shop projects, if I remember right, the Native Americans called this a thunderstick. They used it to bring in rain. So it has a certain shape. It has certain symbols on it. It's tied to leather, which is tied to the pole. And you spin this around and around and around. And you speed it up and slow it down. It makes different levels of vibrations and frequencies. Y'all did that in...
Yeah, Aboriginal use it.
Yeah. Actually, I found a Native American tribe in the southwestern part of the United States that used it. And that's actually how I came up with the idea. Y'all kind of felt bad because I made that in 1997 and I did that for 3 days straight. We were flooded out for like a week and a half. Everything was magic. Couldn't get out, couldn't get in anywhere for a week and a half. I went, oh shit. Because I didn't know back then. I just found this, wanted to make it. And the next thing you know, yeah, it rained. So frequencies have a lot of power to them. A lot of power to them. So you got to understand this. And this is why we always tell you, connect with the frequency and the vibrations of Mother Earth. Everything in nature does it. We're designed to do it. We are created from Mother Earth. We need to reconnect. I mean, all your ancient stories will tell you we were created from the earth. Or like a lot of Native Americans tell you, we come from the earth. I mean, Lakotas will tell you that the great creator sent out the buffalo. And he sent out man to hunt the buffalo. We came from the mouth of the earth. We came from the earth. So this is very important. That's why we're so hard on frequencies and talking about frequencies all the time, is because it's extremely important. 3 requests for a bracelet. Has your email changed?
No, my email hasn't changed. I'll put it in the chat again if anybody has anything they want to say.
Hey, Paranormal. So you got to understand, and it's kind of funny that you talk about that. No, it's not funny. I mean, it broke my heart, and I got chills. But I had a very similar instance back in when I was like 15 or 16 years old. We were over at a house. At some friends of ours' house. The folks were playing cards. Those kids were outside. A certain individual got mad at this cat and squeezed it so bad that it was pretty much lifeless. So, my friend, the little girl that was there, was crying. I said, hold on. Let's go out back. And we started chanting to the Great Spirit and praying and singing. And next thing you know, this cat pops up and it was running around, was fine. So, I mean, I believe in that stuff because I personally have done it myself. I mean, of course, I used a Native American path to it. My God, Snow, come on, ow, dude, claws, dude. Ow, sorry, folks. Oh my gosh, dude, that hurt. You had your claws dug into my legs, bro. So I mean, that stuff is very real. You know, prayer, frequencies, vibrations, beliefs. I mean, you need all of that, and with that, you know, if you study the Bible, you study Yahweh, it tells you have the power of life or death in your tongue. So with the kitten and that puppy, I can see that being the case because that is one of the gifts that Yahweh gave us, the power of life and death in our tongue. If you speak it, it happens. Listen to a lot of ancient people. They'll tell you when you speak, you're chanting. There's power in your words. This is all through all different religions, cultures throughout history. They tell you the exact same thing. Even Odin hung from the tree Yggdrasil for 9 days to gain the power of runes. He speak, and it comes to life. That is magic. That is power. So be very careful on what you say, because what you say can hurt somebody just as much as help somebody. No, I was told to make a project, the girl, and so I chose to make this thunder stick. And I'll be honest with you, ever since that happened, I never used it again because I was like, dude, what the hell? I did it for 3 days straight, and literally we had so much rain. It was called the Great Flood of '97 here in Southwest Missouri. And literally everybody was flooded out, couldn't get in or out of their homes for a week and a half.
I wanted to say something about Dan's comment here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the puppy comes back to life after being squashed in sticks that can make it rain. You know, if you cannot believe it all you want, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is the human concept is such a minor concept. What makes people think that the supernatural can't happen? It's because they're limited. They're walking through life with blinders on. Okay. Like the old horses back in the days when we used to use them to cultivate the fields that we planted crops in. Blinders on. Now you can either accept the word of a preacher and prophet, or you cannot. That's up to you. I'm not making up your mind for you. But if you doubt what I just said, look him up. It's called Last Days. Okay. And he will explain everything that happened that day. Okay. And I believe him.
Yeah.
The power that's in your voice and the power that's in your thoughts is a power that is inconceivable. You can't fathom how much power you have. Okay. And it doesn't make us godly. Okay. It just means that we're gifted. Okay. Some of us are less gifted than others, apparently, because they would see a red barn painted in the country and say that it's green. Okay. And by the way, the sky color is not a sky, it's a water. Okay. It's water that reflects the light that causes that color of the sky. And that's why the color of the sky changes, especially when it storms. Okay. So you can choose to believe it or not believe it. Okay. Plain and simple.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to hold it against you. You know, this is a free chat, you know,
Exactly.
and unless you get to the point where you're disturbing other people in the chat, you know, then we remove you. But other than that, no, I'm not going to remove somebody for speaking their mind. Okay. only if they're being in a way that it's improper. Okay, so everybody in the chat is family, Dan. All right, we talk about these things to see what we can come up with conclusion wise, because the powers that be in this world are holding this knowledge from us. Okay, it's not that we think we do all these things for shits and giggles. It's not that at all. Okay, what it is the fact that we are all family, and we're all trying to work through it to figure out what is going on in the world. Okay, that's why we talk about these things. And honestly, if you don't like the chat or the way the topic's going, turn the channel.
Yeah. He says, no disrespect. I'm just joking around. We get that, and that's why we say we're not gonna condemn you right off the bat.
I love it when people question it and everything. I just don't understand. I mean, we all know the Lazarus story, okay, in the Bible, okay, and how Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead by just speaking his name and the Creator's name. But other than that, this was the first time I heard of somebody with the faith of a child saying it and raising an animal back to life. I mean, that had to have been.
Yeah, I mean
the whole
that's a
thing.
miracle.
Yeah, it's a miracle, but at the same time, it's such a tragedy that happened to that family, that family had to go through all the grief and everything, and the only one in the family that had the faith was the child. So and sometimes it takes to have that unwavering faith of a child,
exactly,
to make things happen. That's the point. Okay, it's not the point of an adult doing it, or that we're godly, so godly we can raise the dead. No, it's not that at all. It's the faith factor, And I thought it was appropriate for this being a Sunday morning topic, to bring that story up, because now more than ever we need to know that we're going to be okay. All right.
Yeah.
Our at a time, our parents were our safety net, and our faith was our safety net. But faith in people, faith nowadays is pushed way beyond its limits, with everything going on in the world. And then you throw all the supernatural stuff on top of that, and it just makes it even worse, So people question their faith, and at a time when they shouldn't. There shouldn't be questioning their faith. They should be standing strong in their faith. So.
And this is stuff Native Americans knew this. Our ancestors knew this. Like the thunderstick, the actual true meaning behind the thunderstick, it calls in the thunder bird. Thunderbird is associated with rain, with thunder, lightning. The Thunderbird. That was the whole premises of the thunderstick. Native Americans knew this type of stuff. That's why they created this stuff. They knew that power, words, frequencies all combine together. It's all shared. So they had certain instruments and certain chants and certain herbs and certain things they used when it comes to dealing with this stuff. And that's like that throughout any religion. Now, you study all ancient religions, you're going to see the very similar and very same stuff. Every practice they did, every ceremony they did, had a chant, had a rhythm, had a vibration, had an instrument. This is throughout all religions throughout history. And so that's something we got to talk about. Every single one of them knew we had the power in our voice. Hence the phrase, when you speak, you chant. So I've got to get caught up on the comments. This is a great this has been a great show today, man. Our chats are flying.
Yep.
Oh wow, the girl. She said, I brought a neon fish back to life by belief. I mean, and the thing is it's more than just belief. It's like unwavering, this is going to happen, belief. This is how this stuff works. If
The
you
faith of a
truly
child.
100%, yes, if you truly believe and you have like zero doubt in your head, that's the only way that power works. And that's what happened with that child. That's what happened with me. Is I had unwavering belief that this was going to work, and it worked. So did that little girl. I mean, that's oh my God, I love that story. It gave me chills, man. It gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
Mm-hmm.
and Tracy and I follow this guy too on YouTube, and he's just a normal guy, man. He may be a pastor, but he's just a normal guy. Anybody that you would talk to at say you're having breakfast in a restaurant and sitting at a table next to you, he'd be the kind of person you could talk to, next to you.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of an individual. And when he was telling the story, he literally was crying because he couldn't fathom how
Mm-hmm.
that tragedy of what he did, the consequences that came from that, changed his family dynamics forever. Literally. And from that day forth, he had the faith of a child, and he only grew in his ministry to others because of that incident. So I mean, I wasn't there, I didn't see it happen, but I'm not going to question the faith of a child, because we all know that children and pets see things that adults can't. So just putting it out there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
paranormal.
the mind of a child is uncorrupted. That's why they can see things and sense things that us adults can't. It has not been corrupted yet. So that's why their minds are so powerful, and that's why they're so well sought on many aspects. And I don't want to get too deep in that. I mean, I kind of got a little deep in that last night. But it's because of their purity of heart, purity of mind, is the reason why they're very well sought, and they can see things and sense things that adults cannot.
Right. And Gnosticism, and the Gnostic faith is sheer faith. Yeah, you're right, Richard. You're absolutely right. Sometimes we are put through things that, well, take for instance me. Okay, growing up the way I did in the black arts and stuff, being Native American, and being raised around that and taught those dark ceremonies. And then going into the military and doing what I did in the military to other living beings, that were told to me that they were bad people and needed to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since that, I've questioned my existence, my ability to go to heaven if I die, and not hell for what I've done. And I'm certainly not perfect. Okay, I'm so far from perfect. It's at one time you could have described me as a demon. Okay, um, but there's still, I have that little spark inside me, that's like this little teeny tiny candle, and it's lit.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I speak about the good things that we need to be doing, the things to connect us to Mother Earth and to the Creator and all that, and even the prayers and stuff that I do to protect people nowadays, like Ryan's friend, and to protect like Jessica when she went on that dogman hunt with her group. My prayers and my incantations that I do from the heart, seems to be making that lit candle inside me, grow even bigger and bigger and bigger. And kind of picture this as a candle like the Grinch's heart. It grew
Mm-hmm.
2.5 times that day. That's kind of like what's going on with me. I'm slowly rebuilding a place where I came from, which was dark, and I've changed it from being completely dark and evil to being embraced by light and having only good things done now. Um, and I do that because I feel I owe it to the Creator. Okay. And I know it says in the Bible, you will not go to heaven due to your works. I understand that, but that doesn't mean that you can't reach out to other people
Mm-hmm.
and tell them, what you've heard and what you've seen in your lifetime, so
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to see it and do
Yeah.
it and experience the heartache. Okay, Eric, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
With being in the military,
Yeah.
um, there's nothing like staring down the barrel of a rifle through a scope and seeing a person's face in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
Um, and you're ordered to do things that
Yeah.
make you almost unhuman.
Sadly,
And
yeah.
that's why I do what I do today. That's why I have this podcast channel. I don't want others to have to go through that pain, um, that listening and hearing at night when you sleep, the screams
Seeing the
of,
faces.
yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that. And yeah, war's hell. Yeah, war's hell, and there's collateral damage. Yeah, we can all think like that, but we're not supposed to live like that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to embrace life. We're supposed to embrace unconditional love. And
Yeah.
I'm torn up because it took me so long to realize that. And that's why we do what we do on here. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we talk about what we talk about. Okay, we question everything.
Heck yeah.
So,
I wanted to kind of address this comment from Blue for a minute. I agree with you. I'm in the same belief as you on that, Blue. Even though they communicate with me, my guests communicate with me. Very seldom will I do something like that because I don't know what they're saying. I don't know their language, and that's the last thing I want to do is cause anger or discontent between the guest and I. What's your thing or thoughts on that, William?
I agree.
Mhm. So that's, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, everything you talked about, William, spot on. I don't talk a lot about my military stuff. I talk very little, and the stuff I've talked about is very little of what I've been through. And honestly, it's because some of it's just too hard. Some of it
You don't
is a civilian won't understand, and they look at
you
you
don't know how.
differently because they don't understand.
That's why I have this sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy to just take it and smash it open and do the all natural remedy to, but that's the easy way out. And I've never taken the easy way out of things. I've
No,
always took the hard road. And I guess the more I talk about things, I want to help people out there to realize that there is a better way to go about this life than to follow after me. Um,
wow. Mm-hmm.
so
Morning, Demos. I'm trying to get caught up on a chat, guys. I apologize. I'm running a little behind on it. I want to hit kind of key things, and of course, the amazing information that William's putting out. I'm not
Star people.
DA. I'm not DA. I'm ED.
Yep, Tracy's right. The star people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's we've kind of gotten off the
Yeah.
paranormal and the supernatural aspect of things, but getting back to what we were talking about with immortals. I can't believe some of these pictures that especially this one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny it, and I
Yeah.
just, you can't deny that these people are the same, and people can say, oh, that's AI, but no, this picture was going around with Eddie Murphy wearing the hat. Back I remember in the early or late 90s, it was online going around. So I remember that.
Yeah.
And then you have the Keanu Reeves thing
Oops,
all the way back to 1530. The man doesn't age. So I don't know. And then we're finding stuff like the elongated skulls, without the sagittal suture on top of the skull, like it is with humans. I don't know. There's so many questions that need to be answered in this world. It's got there's just got to be a reason for it, and I'm just hoping and praying that the reason isn't this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping, but we all know that that's probably the truth right there. I don't know.
The girl on her gong, that is one of the leading theories.
Yeah, definitely. And just because. Oh, thank you, Roxanne. Thank you. And just because we say that they're vampires doesn't necessarily mean that they drink blood. They could bathe in blood. They inject blood of North Korean babies, the umbilical cords from the North Korean babies under their skin to keep them young, and the foreskin to keep them young. And they, and a lot of this, there was a thing in the news the other day. I probably should have screenshot it so I had it. But it was about this construction crew that found this abandoned cargo container, like you see on the ships that come in with merchandise on them. Well, they found this cargo container that was locked, and they torched off the lock, and they said as soon as they cracked the door open, they got hit with this smell that was just the nastiest thing you'd ever want to smell in your life. And they said that they opened it up, and half the guys that were there from the crew started throwing up, and the other half just started crying like babies, because they found a cargo container full of parts and corpses of babies.
Yeah.
And apparently it was the way that they discard those bodies, by putting them in a container, putting it on a ship, and dropping that container in the ocean. And these construction workers were just, they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. They found out.
I can tell you firsthand that I believe that. I hunted drug cartel and pirates for a living for first part of my military career, and you see some horrible shit, man.
Yep, you do. You definitely do. Anyways,
back to
back to what we were discussing about. Brown Dwarf heard about that.
Yeah. in elongated skulls. So in some aspects, I agree with you. I think some of them could definitely be Bigfoot related. Siatonka, the elder big brother.
Mhm.
There's also a lot of evidence through ancient history that it's star people as well.
Mhm.
So I think some of them could be, I mean, Bigfoot related. Some of them definitely. I have to go down that alley as saying very good possibility. I
Well,
mean,
what about the possibility? What
Mhm.
about the possibility of them being the ant people? Because you know how a lot of the native cultures around the Americas and South America talk about the ant people taking us underground during 3 out of the 4 earth-ending cycles to save us, the indigenous people. What if this was an ant person? What if this is the remains of an ant person? You know, what 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 we call grays today, um, or
Yeah.
whites today. You know, um, what if the fact that these things that we're seeing, a lot of the grays and stuff, and a lot of the other alien beings aren't from outer space, aren't from another galaxy far, far away? What if they're from right here within our Earth?
Hmm.
What if they're in the oceans? What if they're under the mountains? Who's to say they're extraterrestrial? You know, I think they're terrestrial. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen to a lot of ancient, especially Native Americans, but there's other cultures too that talk about the very same thing, that ant people and mantis people were on this earth before we were, and then they went underground. Now they have underground cities, and that the earth is actually like a honeycomb, kind of like a honeycomb effect. That's where a lot of these things live at, is underground. Jessica Jones was talking about the blue-eyed people, the big-eyed people. Um,
Yeah, the
there's so
Moonites.
much evidence through history and other religions that a lot of these things that survived the flood went underground after the flood. So I mean, we're looking at the same concept when it comes to this. Native Americans. I can't remember. There's several tribes that talk about the very same thing with ant people and mantis people, that they went underground, but they were there. They were also in the first being category. They were here before humans.
Hmm.
So it's
And to
yeah.
think about it too, though, think about it on this level too, though. Back in the old days, we didn't have the word alien, or that to describe
Mm,
something, or grays. We just had the nearest description to the animal life that we were around and the insect life that we were around every day and interacted with. And it would make sense that we would call something like that as an ant person, because they
mhm,
would have the big head, like the bulbous 3 sections of an ant, you know
mhm.
and of course that we would liken them to the ant people.
Yep.
um that's not saying that they didn't come from the stars, okay, but they could have come from the sky in a
Hmm.
craft. That's been proven. And our people could have misinterpreted that, as coming from the stars. you know
Hmm.
um I'm 50-50 on the whole firmament thing. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm 50-50 on that. So if anybody can convince me that there is a firmament and all that, please do, because I would love to know that that part of the Bible is true.
Hmm.
um but and that would make it to where, yeah, they would be uh terrestrial, in the way that they are coming to us. um I just don't believe everything comes from the stars. you know
No,
i i
I mean,
I believe, like we were taught when we were children, being Native American, that when we were told what the stars were by our elders, we were told that they were expired warriors or expired chiefs, that were there to remind us of just what we were capable of doing, and to guide us during those dark times. You know, um, I'm just not so that just because something's called a gray then that makes them automatically an alien from outer space. I don't know. I'm just not sold on that. And it's because I'm 50-50 on the firmament.
Mhm. So, I mean, this is a very interesting subject. So, a lot of different cultures, even and a lot of it Native American as well. Yes, we'll tell you there's two types of every one of these beings. You got interdimensional and you got extraterrestrial. There's interdimensional lizard people. There's extraterrestrial lizard people. Interdimensional ant people, extraterrestrial. This is very very well spoken throughout a lot of cultures, Native American included. Will tell you the very same thing. So now, could that be because either A, at one time they came from the stars and now they're interdimensional, or is it B, they've been interdimensional and learned how to go to the stars? Or
Right.
C, could there be one that was this way and one that was this way? I mean, that
Right.
would fall more on the starred seed people, I guess. Is I think if that's what they call that new thing now, star seed people, something like that. I guess it'd be more along that category, but I don't know if we'll ever know for sure. But I just know there's a reason why those people fall the category amongst a lot of Native Americans as being the first beings. They were here
Right.
before
Exactly.
humans.
Exactly. I just, I'm just not sold that everything. I'm just not sold that everything is alien. Okay, that we
No.
see. Because we know from being in the military that half the stuff we see in the sky are our own military doing experiments on new craft and stuff.
Mhm.
So, and I think at one time Project Blue Book actually proved that 70% of everything that people were seeing were military projects, and only 30% was actually unidentified. Which
Reverse
you
engineering.
got to, yeah, you got to, you got to figure, is it reverse engineering of our people doing it, or is it alien races that are coming? Um, I'm more under the impression you marked on it very briefly in Jessica's show last night, um, about the World War II agreement
Mm-hmm.
between the United States, NATO, and the Nazi Party.
Mm-hmm.
And the Nazi Party hasn't gone anywhere. Okay, they weren't. This comes from my father. My father was in World War II. Okay, and in fact, I have every newspaper clipping and everything from World War II right in here. Okay, of my father. I've got the ration stamps from World War II. I've got newspaper articles. I've got postcards that he wrote to his mother from World War II. All kinds of stuff, and Western Union, stuff from World War II,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, but and here's what he was in. He was in the 4th Armored Division, okay, which was General Patton's division, okay. Now, my dad used to sit up late at night with me at the kitchen table, um, especially more after my grandmother passed when I was real young. She passed away when I was 3 years old, and that was a very tragic
Mm-hmm.
point in my life. Because her and I used to sit at the kitchen table, and she would pour orange pop for us to share, and Archway cookies back in the day used to make an orange frosted cookie. Okay. And her and I used to eat those and drink the orange soda at the kitchen table. It was just a grandma and grandson thing to do. I mean, I was 3 years old. What did I know? Um, but after she passed away, my dad kind of took over, and he didn't do the same thing, but he kind of sat at the kitchen table with me and would talk about things with me, to educate me on the way things are in this world. and the stuff that he had seen and done. And I remember specifically, conversations about the cryptids and stuff, and about Bigfoot, and about what he saw during World War II, going through France into Germany, um, through the Black Forest, and fighting dogmen there, and basically taking and scalping one of them, for proof when he got back home, that he could prove to his father and mother that these things were real, over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about how General Patton took him and about 50 other soldiers to secure a partially underground building in Germany. I'm not sure what part of Germany it was in, but basically that he said that nobody won the war. Yes, we defeated the Japanese, okay, only because of the drastic measure that the country took, NATO took to put a stop to it, which killed hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians, that had no idea that they were, going to be sucked into a war. Um, but he described this building, and I know I told you this story before, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I told Jessica this story too. That my dad described this building half in the ground and half out, where he found all kinds of craft. He found metal orbs. He found the Nazi bells, and there was more than one of them. I think he said there was two or three of them. He found saucer-shaped craft, UFOs, is what he called them, and several other things. Jacob's ladder. He described a device that was called a Jacob's ladder, that you would turn it on, and it would literally take a person from point A, make them invisible, and bring them back out in point B. It was literally a Jacob's ladder to where you could actually,
No, it's just
travel almost like off a Star Trek, with the way that they used to go to and from planets. Okay. In fact, I almost think that's where that part of the TV show came up with the idea, was from World War II.
Yeah.
Um, so many different things he told me. And he told me flat out that World War II was not won by any one certain country, that it was an agreement,
Dude,
because the United States wanted all the Nazi secrets. And at the same time that the United States got all the Nazi secrets, was Project Paperclip, where we took all their scientists in, and slowly and surely, the Nazis knew, Hitler knew, because Hitler wasn't dead. Okay, they never killed him. He never killed himself. Okay, or his girlfriend. They lived on and off in Argentina and in Glacier National Park. Okay, because Glacier National Park reminded him as the Swiss Alps, where he grew up as a child. Okay, now, anyways, the Nazis knew, and Hitler knew, that eventually, if they would take their scientists and put them in the central parts of the American scientific field, that it would encompass military, that it would encompass political, and it would encompass science. Okay, they knew that if they had those three things, and we were bringing their scientists, their Nazis over here, and bringing them into our country as citizens, because of what they knew. Hitler and the Third Reich knew that eventually America would become Nazi. Think about it. It's like the Trojan horse theory. Give them a gift, and eventually, in time, that gift will poison the masses and kill off the ones that would rebel against the way of the change. Same thing. Trojan horse is what they did. They sent their Nazi scientists over here, and all their super secret projects, all their supernatural projects that they didn't mention. everything. And that's pretty much why our country is the way it is today. And it sucks. It sucks more than anything, because, first off, as we're born, we're given this grand illusion that we're all free. Nobody's free. Okay. Nobody has ever been free in this world. And I make a good case too for the firmament. Think about it. If there is a firmament above separating the heavenly waters from the terrestrial waters, like it says in the Bible, how would we get out?
Nine.
How would we get out and leave this world to go to the moon or go to Mars or anything? It wouldn't be possible. We would be literally prisoners. And that's basically where the term prison planet came from. Back in the days when people like oh God, what's his name now? Well, Jesse Ventura was one of them that talked about it on a TV show, the Conspiracy Theories TV show that he had. Oh my God, I can't think of his name. Infowars.com. He was another one. So, but yeah, they spoke about this stuff years ago, back in the 90s, and it's all coming to fruition. It's all coming true. We have literally become the head of the snake that we decapitated. Think about it. We literally have.
Yeah. Trying to get caught up on the chats.
Resistance. Yeah. That sounds interesting.
I was kind of commenting with Larry there. He asked if there was a CERN in Mexico, and I told him I believe there is. I can't remember. I want to have to look it up to make sure. But I was wanting to say I think I heard there was. It was somewhere around Mexico City, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Val. Good to see you, Val.
Oh, Val.
Overbuilt. Good to see you.
So,
yeah, Jesse's show was really good. I kind of, I don't think there was a program that I did not see of his, because back then in the 90s when he did that, he was, an ex-governor, of Minnesota, and he had the balls to question everything. He had the balls to stand right up to the CIA or to the FBI and literally question everything, and I respected him for that. And that's kind of, that kind of opened up a lot of doors for the rest of us to come in and continue the work, if you know what I mean, to question everything. That's, why we have what we have.
Roxanne,
Alex Jones. Thank you, Brown Dwarf. Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. Alex Jones.
Roxanne wants to know, wasn't it all this foretold?
Well, yeah. If you go to Revelations, the one part of Revelations that I can't stand, which is true because it's happening, is Revelations 9-6. And it talks about, how father against son, son against father, and, and all that. And the one thing that the dark energy of this world wants to do or to accomplish is to break up the family. Okay. They want to tear families apart. Okay. They want to make families and members of families hate each other. And we all know as parents that if there ever comes a time that our children would hate us, that it would hurt very, very much. You know, it would it would affect our psyche to the point where, you know, it would be unbelievable, you know, that our own children could hate us. And you
Mm-hmm.
see that happening in the world today. Um, you know, they talk about all the fatherless, you know, children out there that don't have fathers growing up in their lives, but have their mothers. Um, honestly, you know, not being perfect, okay, and again, you know, coming from a dark place to a light, um, I used to think I was doing right by my children, and I can honestly see now that I wasn't doing right by them, and I could only hope that they would forgive an old tired Indian, you know, and come around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To realizing that everything that a parent does, they do from the heart, or at least they try to do. A lot of times it's messed up, you know, and you know, it goes back to that whole indoctrination thing, you know, about you know, the schools and stuff telling us what the way things are and stuff and making us believe them. And when in actuality, it's not that way at all. It's nothing is correct that we're ever taught in this world. And I think we're all starting to realize that. I really do. Um, or at least some of us are. So I don't know. It's government put well, almost 5 years ago in the lockdown, and yeah, Roxanne, you're right. Um, and that's why it says in the Bible that we are not going against flesh and blood, but we are going against principalities, which is, you know, what it is happening today. You know, we're going against principalities. Um, so, you know, is the rest of the stuff in the Bible correct? I would say yes. You know,
Yeah.
well,
I'm
quiet
trying to get
listener.
welcome back, Quiet. Oh, I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here. These comments are flowing today. This is amazing. Y'all are wonderful.
Yeah, you guys are a great family. You really are extended family, and you know, don't ever think that we take it for granted here because we don't. We respect and love everybody in the chat, and we especially respect everybody's opinion in the chat. And that's the way we got to do things. You know, this hating each other for religious beliefs or even beliefs in the paranormal and the cryptid and stuff. You know, um, it's got to stop. You know, we shouldn't continue to let them divide us, because a divided people is a conquered people, plain and simple. And we keep letting the governments of the world and the institutions of the world, like the World Health Organization or the World Economic Forum, or even the UN, we keep on letting these institutions put Trojan horses amongst us, and they succeed in dividing us every chance they get.
Yeah.
And you know, we allow it to happen. I just, you know, I for one, I can't understand how we can allow it to happen. You know, I really don't. It's almost like their indoctrination through the education system is working. You say something enough, and it's a truth.
Yeah. So, it is, and that's why when we're educating people on these paranormal, supernatural, mythological, and cryptid stuff, um, that's why we always recite in history, because it's important to have the correct information, not the current thing that's coming out, the correct information. And we're not saying what we're saying is true. We're just telling you what our ancestors have said, um, and what our experiences have been. Um, I can't deny somebody their experience. I wasn't there. Regardless of how I feel about somebody's experience, I cannot deny that experience. I was not there. Even if I'm going, man, this has gotten a little far out there, dude, that's just how I take it. Doesn't make it true, doesn't make it false. I was not there. And we got to consider that when we're thinking about a lot of these stuff we're learning and hearing um, about, these encounters and stuff like that. You got to have that kind of set of mind in there as well, even on the historical side.
Dead Wolf, I respect you 100% for your beliefs, and I do not, I do not, I don't want anybody to think that, that we think of things one-sided, because we don't. We're just searching for answers.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like we've been searching our whole lives for the truth to the answers. And every time we turn around, we're told something different when it comes to the leaders of our world. And it just seems like we don't question it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, you know, I've said this multiple times. I am not a religious man by any means. I'm probably the furthest thing from a religious man you'll find. I am spiritual, because religion was created by man, and religion has corrupted mankind. That's why I'm not a religious man. I'm a spiritual man, because I know who my great creator is. I know who my heavenly Father is. Regardless of what you want to call him, you want to call him Yahweh, Odin, whatever. I'm a firm believer in this.
Right.
I'm not. People forget the true meaning of Christian. The true meaning of Christian is not what people think it is today. It means to be Christ-like.
Mm-hmm.
That is what Christian means, to be Christ-like. And people in the church have forgotten that. And people get so caught up in that building saying this is the church. No, that building's the building. The people are church. Where two or more gathered to worship me and spread my word, I am there. That is a church. We're having church right now. This is a church. The people are the church, not that building. So people really need to get back into that mindset. And that's why I'm not a religious person at all. I'm very spiritual, but I'm just not religious.
Right, exactly. And Dead Wolf, you are
Sorry.
always welcome. Dead
I'm
Wolf,
sorry.
you are always welcome here.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't ever think you're not.
Heck no,
Everybody in the
Dead
chat
Wolf.
is always welcome here. We try to look at things, in a perspective to where we can actually bring it
Yeah.
out in conversation and talk about it, whether it's supernatural, paranormal,
Oh yeah.
cryptid, or just generality. And I really do believe that people will have the ability to play these videos back later after
Mm-hmm.
we're long gone from this world, and be able to realize that maybe we were on to something, because it takes one person to change the world. And we're growing by leaps and bounds,
Mm-hmm.
in the chat, and as the extended family for the channels. And I don't know, maybe something good will come of this.
No, yeah.
And it's not because we want to have people think the way we think. It's not that at all. It's, how do I want to say it? It's just that that some of the things that we have dealt with in our lives, that we are knowledgeable of, we try to share it with others so they don't have to go through those same exact things. Okay, so I like Dan's comment here about marriage.
Oh.
Marriage is like nuclear warfare. There are no survivors.
Heck yeah, man. I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here. We get to talk about a subject and I'll get falling behind on the comments, so I'm slowly getting to everybody's. But yeah, we need to bring a lot of this mindset back. And this is I'm not going to knock somebody if they agree with me in my beliefs, in my ways. I'm not going to knock somebody for that. Believe what you want to believe. I mean, a lot of people in here know my feeling on the Catholic Church. It's not the people itself; it's the people in power that I have an issue with.
Right.
The Catholic religion was created by John, the Apostle John, and it's changed since when he created that. It's not so much the church. Some of the churches, yes, are bad. A lot of it is the leadership that I have an issue with. I mean, Roxanne in here was a Catholic. Roxanne Delgado, she was a Catholic. I mean, she can tell you a lot of that stuff too. But there's just a lot of practices that goes against everything that's talked about in the Torah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, David, you're right.
So, yeah, that's why I believe in the end. I mean, I believe in Yahweh. I believe in Yeshua, which is the true names, not what the King James Bible tells you. The true names for God and Jesus is Yahweh and Yeshua. Yes, it was actually hijacked by a demon king. People forget that the fallen angels, when they were cast down to this planet, kept their heavenly power and their heavenly rank. They're known as demon kings. In other words, are also known as kings of hell. They are the true demons, not the sub-demons that was created. They are the true demons. And there's been many prophets that's talked about a demon king taking over the Vatican. I didn't believe that for a little while until I started doing more research and started realizing these prophets were talking very, very truthful. They're very correct. Well, it's not the Catholic Church itself; it's the Vatican.
Right, and do you know why the Pope always kisses the feet of important people that he meets, whether it's dignitaries from another country or another religious group? He kisses their feet to mock the feet being washed by Jesus Christ. When Jesus washed the feet of all the disciples, okay, all 12 of the disciples, because that's Satan's way of showing that he's more humbler than Jesus was. Okay, that he has the ability to humble himself to kiss other people's feet, where the one true God just washed the feet of the disciples. He didn't kiss the feet. So you see, he's always trying to one up God. Okay, the Creator, the Heavenly Father. He's always trying to one up him. Okay, so that's why that happens. It's not out of respect for the people. It's to mock what Jesus did, plain and simple.
Sorry, I was commenting to Robin. I didn't know she asked that earlier. I asked earlier if you were familiar with the cipher and the Ethiopian Bible. I am a little bit, but I'm learning more and more. It depends on what cipher you're talking about, because there's different kinds of ciphers. So I need to know which cipher you're talking about.
Yep, I definitely like the Ethiopian Bible. I feel that that's the most complete. That's the most complete scripture that is written. And I think what happened to the original Bible was a travesty. Because if you're gonna hear the word of God, the Creator, you should be allowed to see and read and partake of all the knowledge, okay, of all the knowledge that God gave man, okay, not just some of it. And I think by taking those other books out of the Bible, out of the King James version, basically they did that to make the Vatican's way of perceiving praying and the religious beliefs of that religion to be the only way. Okay, so that's why the Vatican established their church first. So,
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. That's why when I tell people, don't look just at Christianity, don't look at just Judaism and Catholicism or any of that. Look at all religions. I talked about this a little bit last night on Jessica's show. If you study the Old Testament and you study ancient Sumerian, it's the exact same thing. The exact same stories, and something that died off 2,600 years before the Torah came out is the exact same thing. That's because Judaism came from ancient Sumeria. That's why the Old Testament in ancient Sumeria is very similar.
right, exactly. Oh, well, I'm starting to get really, really short-winded, and we've been 2.5 hours already today, guys.
Yes, you can, Roxanne. Sorry, I wanted to get that out there. She asked, can we find the Ethiopian Bible to read at all? A copy? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Where did
in fact,
you find
I'm
yours?
ordering one off of Amazon.
That's it, Amazon.
Oh, it is Jacob. Hey, I want to show you somebody.
He just had a
Yep.
scrambled egg.
He just had a scrambled egg. Oh my
He's
goodness.
feeling happy.
I haven't
He's
even
rolling
ate yet,
over
dude.
on the bed.
Feeling happy. He's feeling happy.
Look at you,
He's
superstar.
feeling happy. Yeah. He's feeling happy. Oh, yeah, he's happy. All right. He's giving me a bath. Yeah. 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 Oh, my goodness.
The most,
My
if you
goodness
actually study Norse mythology and you study the Garden of Eden, I want to tell you one simple word to look up: Yggdrasil. Study Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, and then study the Garden of Eden.
I love you. Okay, honey.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna grab him.
Hi, my boy. Hi, buddy. Look at that tongue. Look at that tongue.
Oh. Okay, I just had my second shower.
I had one a little bit ago.
Anyways, that was Jacob for all the new viewers on there. That's our little guy. So if you ever hear us mentioning Jacob, that's Jacob.
He's the rock star.
Hmm.
Yeah, give me 1 second, quiet.
While Eric's putting down the link and his channel and all that, if you can, everybody like, heart, and share this out as much as you can. This is probably one of the longest broadcasts we've done to date. We're over the 2.5 hour mark already. So, but
I've got to do an interview in here in 40 minutes with Linda Eastburn. I just looked at the time.
Oh boy. Okay, well, we're gonna end it with that, folks. And this channel is always here Friday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. Okay, for Into the Red Rabbit Hole, where we start these topics, and they have been some really good ones lately. Let me tell you. And then we have Saturday and Sunday mornings, Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew Show, which is what we do. We just sit around and we talk about things paranormal, supernatural, cryptid, and just in general, and that's, just a way that we help to get everybody involved and see what everybody's, theories are and stuff on certain things. Because unless we talk about it, we're never going to be able to really figure out what's going on in this world. So, everybody, I want to thank you all for the chat, and thank you all for the super stickers and stuff. It means a lot. It means a lot. I'm not going to be having a show until Friday on this channel, but it's going to be a good one. Okay. Mary, thank you for being here. Robin, Dan, Telly,
Let's see if that'll
Richard,
pop up this time.
David, Melissa, Roxanne, everybody, thank you very much for being here.
So
I think
I
I
wanna-
even saw a war criminal in here one time. You guys mean a lot to us in the chat. Okay. And never forget that. Girl with a gong, never forget that. Okay. You guys are literally extended family. And the more we talk about things, the better. I don't know about you all, but the better it makes me feel. So, um, because we're sharing it, and we're working through it together, and that's the way it's meant to be. So,
for
but
some reason, my
yeah,
messages are not coming across on the not coming across. So I had to use your deal real quick, bro.
oh, that's fine. It shouldn't have changed.
Man, I just looked and I sent the link twice and it has not showed up over here on the chat. And I'm like, I'm looking at it on YouTube and on my end, I'm seeing it on YouTube. And when I look over here, it's not over here. I'm like, oh, so I was wondering why they're asking you send the link again. I was like, man, I just sent that and got to look and sure as all get out, it's not coming across. I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, I mean, I've got to do an interview with Linda Eastburn here at 1:00, and then tonight I want to have my usual show, The Bizarre and the Unknown, where I may be having a special guest coming on. I'm going to redo the part 2 of the Fae because I had so much issues last week. I feel like crap that I had that much issues last week, so I am going to redo it this week to try to make it better, and hopefully we don't have. Heedy, make sure you still have a moderator. That's why I'll bet. Yeah, Roxanne's my mod. Roxanne is awesome. She's my moderator. I'm truly blessed to have her as my moderator. And William's another one of my moderators.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to be redoing the Fae, and because I'm just not happy about last week's production, and I feel like crap, and I feel bad for everybody because I had so much internet issues during that. So we're going to be redoing that. Oh, you're welcome, Roxanne. I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am truly blessed that you're my mod. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that tonight. I am about to have a new book released. It should be released here within the month. I'm about halfway done with the last chapter of it now. It's my historical fiction. It's not a historical fiction cryptid horror like some of mine are. This one is straight up historical fiction. This takes back in 892 in England during Danelaw Law. I recently changed the cover. Recently changed the title. It used to be called The Two Brothers War and Turmoil. It is now Viking Age Secrets in Mercia. I'm already getting ideas for book 2, but I should have that done and sent out for final editing here real soon. I'm just like a couple pages shy of finishing that book up. So I'm going to probably work on that some today and tomorrow so I can get it out for final production or final editing. So be looking forward to that. If you go to Amazon.com, you type in e.d.testerman, you'll find my books. I have 5 of them that's on print and Kindle, and 4 of the 5 are on audio. The other one is up for reproduction again. So I do have them on audio as well. If you click my name above my books, it'll take you to my author's fan page. If you follow me on Amazon, anytime I release a book, it'll let you know. And I believe it also tells you when I have a new release on audio. If memory serves me correctly, it also does that as well. Yeah, you do a good job at it, Roxanne. I'm on different kind of sites. I'm on Rumble. I'm on X. I'm on Patreon. I'm on Twitch. I'm trying to get. I was loaded a couple things on my Patreon last night, and my Rumble and my X last night. I'm trying to get caught back up because I've been having so much stuff and I've been so busy. I've not been up on it. So my short scary stories I uploaded onto Patreon last night, and the latest, my almost completed version of Viking Age Secrets of Mercia is uploaded on the tier 3 side of my Patreon. If you're Patreon members, you get first access while I'm working on my books. They're not the final editing, but you get a sneak peek at my books. And certain levels have certain amount of chapters as to them. The highest one, which is Odin, that is, you'll actually get a full manuscript of my pre-edited works on my books. That's just a couple of the perks. I'm trying to come up with new stuff. Make sure not only go to my merch store on Teespring. Oh, thank you so much, Quiet. Not only go to my merch store on Teespring, and I've got different lines of merch, different kinds of style of merch. You need to go to my good brother's here's merch store. I am the official billboard for my brother William Nighthawk, and get his merch store. You gotta go. As fluffy as I am, I make a hell of a good billboard. I love this shirt. Every time I'm on with William, I'm wearing this shirt. Make sure you go and support us. I've got different stuff that you can, help donate and support the show. I don't ever ask for anybody for money, but I know people like to, so I give them options. And William's got stuff too, and I'll let him talk about his merch store and his donation deals.
Yeah, all the links to my stuff is at the bottom of the screen going across the ticker. So the YouTube channel, William Nighthawk 6630 on YouTube, the GoFundMe, the link tree, and the bonfire store. And it's Into the Red Rabbit Hole at the bonfire store.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we sell these things just to help us make a little bit to get new equipment and stuff. And a lot of the stuff that we get is, it costs money to do what we do. And, we're not making money. Trust me. I'm trying to get Eric up to at least 500.
I'm trying to jump overnight.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you up to 500. So
appreciate it, man. I'll still do it no matter what the numbers I have. I love doing this because I don't do it for me. I do it for the people. This is why I do this stuff. I mean, even my investigations, do I lose money doing this stuff? Absolutely. But it's not about the money. It's about information. It's about knowledge. It's about getting stuff out to the people. This is why I do this. I'm still going to do investigations. I'm still going to do podcasts. I'm still going to do all this other stuff because I love this, and I love helping people, and I love educating people. I want to give you a foothold in some kind of information and let you go about it and do your research and build upon mine, or come up with your own opinion or your own hypothesis on it. That's why I always say, you never take what I say for granted. Take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research upon it. You'll either come up with your own opinion or hypothesis, or you'll build upon the one that I've started already. That's how we grow, and that's how we learn in this community, is by doing it this way.
And that's why we talk about the things we talk about too. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we go off subject, but you know what? It's wherever the subject that we're talking about takes us. And sometimes we get into the religious aspect of it and all that. But by no ways and means are we pushing any certain spiritual path on you guys. I'm a Native American, and I will always be.
What's wrong with Jacob?
All right.
He just yelped when I got up. I was trying to fix the bed and clean up. I don't know. He feels all bloated and weird.
All right. Well, we're going to have to cut it close here and down because our little buddy Jacob needs something right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to say thank you, everybody, for being here. Please like, heart, and share this out, and subscribe to the channel. Sometimes I have like 2 videos I still got to post on the members only part of the channel that isn't seen on the regular channel. So if you want to help support the channel that way, become a member. That's one way to do it. And there's already a couple videos on there that have not been on this channel. So basically, thank you, everybody. And Dan, I really appreciate your insight today, brother. Okay. Mm-hmm. And always remember that you are all part of this conversation in the chat. And that's why we do it, man. Okay. So everybody, you take care. And we will see you all Friday night for Into the Red Rabbit Hole at 11 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Heck yeah. Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.